Okay, it is 9:30, even though our clock says 10:30, and we're here for the work session today, just our informal time of chatting with whoever wants to chat and among the board. And I know the city of Tiffin is, you waiting for somebody else, or you on your own?
I'm in, I think.
City of Tiffin has a-
You're on your own.
What you see is what you get.
Do the short straw?
I'm just ready for the fried chicken.
If you'd like to go first, we'll certainly give you the floor.
Thank you, commissioners. Last night at our council meeting, I'd been noticing the excellent articles in the Advertiser on both our meetings, and where one thing that struck me was the Board of Elections looking for more space. And then I saw another article the next week or so where the Department of Human Services, I don't know whether they had some room out at that complex or what it was, but this kind of ran an alarm for me because I instigated the whole thing at council last night. I'm solely responsible that they all went along 7-0. They're scared of me, I guess. But President Elkert asked me to come and talk with you this morning. We're concerned about losing any more of our county seat from the city of Tiffin. We feel that the Tiffin, Ohio Corporation, this is the county seat for Seneca County, and county offices should be easily accessible to the people that live in the city of Tiffin. This is the county seat. Granted, there's Fostoria, there's Haddock and everything else, but Tiffin is the county seat. So then there's also the underlying factor that we look at the city is that we can't afford to lose income tax dollars. That's where we get our main income, is from income tax dollars. So if it's 3 or 4 or 5 positions that would move out of the city of Tiffin to Eden Township, to the complex, we would lose those income tax dollars. And nobody better than the commissioners knows we're always fighting for every dollar that we can. So my main purpose to be here this morning is to urge you, we passed a motion last night, to consider, strongly consider, keeping all of the offices for the county that are still here within the city of Tiffin, and possibly even consider, as space becomes available, if it does become available, to move some of them back into the city of Tiffin. There's a lot of employees out at the complex, the county complex, that we're, unless they live in the city of Tiffin, we're not getting the income tax dollars. But we did, and I'd expressed this at a meeting that Commissioner Zoller and I'd been to the other day, our concern on this. So that's just it. I think we're having an excellent spirit of cooperation. I've never seen it before like this, and I've been around for a long time with the county and the city and Fostoria, and I hope we can continue this and at least give it some due consideration. That's what we're asking. So, all right.
Well, Councilman Roberts, I couldn't be more supportive of what the direction is from City Council. I know that we have an issue that we're trying to address. I believe, as you do, that Tiffin is the center, the hub of the community, and the Board of Elections, it's easy, accessible. You know, prior to running for commissioner, if someone would have said without the Job and Family Services, I would have said, well, where's that at?
Right.
I mean, I don't know, so I would assume there are additional, and please don't print this, that are as ignorant as I am. In the county.
Some facts are unnecessary to print.
Well, I mean, and also, besides that, the cost factor. We are cognizant that there is some inefficiencies within what they have up there, and I know Commissioner Stacy is looking at alternatives and so forth, but it would have to be very, very compelling before I would personally agree to move out of where we are.
And really, that's all we're asking is for your consideration and to consider this. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. So, but like I said, we're really enjoying, I at least individually, personally, am really enjoying this spirit of cooperation it makes it a real pleasure to serve in city government for me, with the cooperation that we're getting with the county government and the other city governments. So,
I equally agree. I think that we are in unprecedented times. The county, the city, Fostoria, I mean, we are basically one unit right
Yes.
now. And what a better way to utilize taxpayers' money than to look at opportunities, how we can work together versus working apart.
taxpayers are the winner. Taxpayers are the big winner by us working together, so.
And as a county entity of owning several rooftops that we do, one thing is in that look, and again, we don't even know if they like the idea yet. Just the chairman has physically looked at it today. They were gonna try if it worked out. But that I looked at was the fact that potentially then that space of the two more marketable for us to potentially fill to a renter, given that we're not looking at needing it for any other county offices, because we have so many buildings that we're already taking care of. But if we could rent that out, that's obviously more conducive to maybe retail or something to be utilized in Tiffin than the space out there is, because we've shown that space to several other groups. But we'll see where it goes, but point well taken.
Either way could be a winner, so.
The Board of Elections, at their best point when we went and talked with them was their space for the in-person voting, which is something relatively new. We designed that building for them. It was built for them. But with the new in-person voting that's happened since then, you know where they have it right there as you first go in. They've got
Right.
a couple little booths sitting up there. And they make some good points that that's not private and not adequate in space. And it doesn't happen very often. It's just, you know, a month or so before the big elections. But there's not a good way in that building to resolve that issue. We walked around the building, I don't know, a month ago or so, and there really wasn't a good way to resolve that. So it leaves us in a bit of a quandary if we're gonna keep them there. What do we do to resolve that issue?
I know some cities have actually put it in a separate area. I think like Toledo or some places, they actually have their voting in a separate area. But I think another problem we have is, and all governments have been guilty of this, we spread out. And, you know, the city's smaller, the county is smaller, we have computers, but we just all seem to love our space, and we just seem to spread out. And I think, I worked for the Japanese for 20 years, and they love their space, and they condense their space. And I've often thought, it's too bad there isn't a Japanese engineering company that could come in and design and show us how to properly use space, because they don't believe in private offices. They don't. They like petitions, and they don't even like them that well. They want you to be able to see whoever else you're working with in the room. But it's just, we just hope that there could be, and we know that the logistics, there's a lot of problems, and to us it looks simple because we're not facing the logistics problems, but we just hope you'll consider
Sure.
our thoughts on this.
The thought that night was, I think somebody suggested that maybe it'd be put in the basement or somewhere else, and then you have to have 2 more Republicans and 2 more Democrats at the place where they're voting. Right now, the folks are there, they're sitting at their desks.
Right.
So that would take more people if you did that. So that's why the other place was thought of. But it's a good point, and we'll consider that. And
Okay.
perhaps if that is moved, we could work together to market that retail space.
Okay. Anything, looking forward to working with you on
Okay.
anything, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Jim, what's your email address? I can't.
Roberts, JB,
JB,
J for James, V for beautiful,
okay?
2009 at Yahoo.
This is not to go in the paper.
Okay, put that in the paper if you want to.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, bye now.
Does anyone have anything else they want to speak to the board about this morning?
Yeah, I do. My name's Charles Lawrence. I talked to Fred about this. You guys are looking to bring in tax dollars and stuff in Tiffin, Seneca County. And you got all these old railroad track beds that ain't being utilized. You got walk parks for people. You got roads for people to drive on. You got dog parks. How about something for these people with ATVs? You got a railroad track bed right out here by the old Hayes Albion. that you can get on and you can ride all the way to Route 4. If you start small and you start bringing these people in and see this, hey, they got a pretty neat setup here. You know, we can ride there. No, the only cost it's going to cost you is a few stop signs where they got to cross the road, and poles at each entrance that limits the size of the vehicle. That way, people's not driving cars and trucks up and down. You know, like they do. They got one in Nelsonsville. They got one up in Toledo at Oak Opens. But there's nothing around here. Everybody's hauling their stuff down south and spending their money down there.
Are those owned by the railroad,
They're vacated.
they're vacated, but they're still somebody's property?
My understanding, I'm certainly not an expert in this, is there's a lot of differences in who owns those things. Sometimes it reverts back to the landowner when they're abandoned, sometimes it's owned by the railroad. I don't know, Steve Gruner at the Park District in Fremont would probably be the one that would know the most about that. But that's a,
Because that's how they've done the bike trails.
that's kind of, yeah, that's how they did the bike trails, but that's a fairly long process of obtaining all those right of
It is a monumental
I'm-
task, and not to say.
Yeah, I
it can't be
understand
done.
that, but you gotta start somewhere. I mean, Fred knows, he started a business.
I wonder if, well, I don't know that the commissioners is the best entity to take on something like that. It's more of a recreational thing in Sandusky County, the Park District. Didn't the Park District do that in Sandusky County?
Yes, yes.
Um,
Yeah,
I don't know, it's something to think about.
Are you,
That's a
do you
new
live in one of
curve.
the townships?
I live in Tiffin.
You live in Tiverton, okay, just curious.
I'd be happy to help you, but I mean, my suggestion is first, you gotta form a committee. And unfortunately, I'm throwing out a bunch of bureaucracy, but it just doesn't happen overnight. You form, and I know, because like my wife happens to be involved in the dog park. They've been at that thing for a year, but you form a committee, they got to have some sort of funds that they generate, and then that committee would then decide.
Well,
you
how
know,
much funds do you get off of registered vehicles?
Well, do they register
Yes, sir, they do.
ATVs?
Mine's
Do they?
registered.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that that's already spent,
Well, that goes to the county engineer.
yeah,
for roads.
which we don't have any control over that. But I mean, to form a committee, and then that committee would then start to break up into subcommittees and gather information. I mean, it's a monumental thing.
Well, I
First, you'd
understand
have to
that.
get, I would assume,
And find out who the owners of
you
the
find out who
railroad
the owners of the things, get that. There's gotta be insurance issues, who would own it? Would the county own something like that? I don't know, would it be private like the dog park? From what I understand, is they went to the city's gonna allow them to use the land, and then they have to provide the insurance and fencing and all this, but that was that committee that kind of put that together. And this is, I'd be happy, you know, I hate this,
Well,
I'm not like I'm throwing the ball back to you, I'm willing to help you.
I'll tell you what happened in Kentucky. They had these trails. They ride those strip mines, just like in West Virginia. West Virginia, they utilized it, and that's a big income for them guys down there. They got whole towns that's ATV friendly. Kentucky, two guys capitalized on this and decided, hey, we're gonna build a private ATV park and let these people, you know, have mud runs in it and everything. And the second year, they made a profit.
Well, the way you're going about it is absolutely the right way, because it'll be in the paper. And then, based on that, and I would suggest, if you want to be like the chair of this, suggest have people call you or email you. And then you'll find the people that are interested in it. And it's going to be the masses that are going to make this happen. If you get people that are all of a sudden responding and say, you know what, that's a great idea, I was thinking about that, I'd like to be on this committee, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you get 10 people that are on that, and then that's how the thing grows. But you're doing it exactly the right way, because I'm sure this young lady, she's writing behind you, and it'll be in tomorrow's paper.
Well, I know when we was kids, we used to get on the railroad tracks beside the fairgrounds. And we could ride our old dirt bikes or whatever they were all the way to McCutcheonsville. And, I mean, a lot of people think ATVs are gonna tear up the place. No, they don't. You know, it's a lot of people's got bad concepts of bikers. Oh my God, all these bikers are coming to town. Look at how much money they raise for organizations. Fred knows, he was involved in one. You know, they're stereotyped and they shouldn't be. You know, they got a label put on. Sure, you're gonna get a few bad apples out of every dozen. You know, but as far as help to build something like that, well, then people come together and do it. They'd volunteer to do it. That way they had something to ride on. You would be surprised at how many ATVers are around Seneca County.
I'll be glad, if you wanna put in the paper, put my name, if people wanna call me, and then we can see what kind of interest there is.
Sure.
You know, my email address, and I think you have that, yeah, that,
Those are they dirt trails, or they don't pave or gravel them?
oh, there's
They're dirt. They're just dirt.
Some of it's dirt, some of it's
Like
still
I know
got
the
the
bike,
old,
the bike thing is paved, because it's, bicycles.
yeah,
and
some
they
of it's still got the old berm stone from the railroad
Okay.
tracks, and stuff like that,
curious.
but, I mean, it would,
So the cost is drastically less, it's just a matter of the ownership and,
the
yeah.
ownership, there's certainly liabilities.
Yeah.
There's ownership, who's gonna own that? Would the county wanna, of course, if there's enough interest, it then would be to investigate other places that have got that and see how they put it together.
Go see how they did it and how it's
And,
organized. Is there
and
park districts?
If it's
or
private,
things?
if
Yeah.
it goes over to private, or
Yeah.
it's a public entity, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But again, it starts by what you're doing today, and the response that's in the paper, and as I said, I'd be happy to collect that information. If you find out that my phone's ringing off the hook, there's a lot of people interested in it. You know what? This is a value that we may want to get involved with, or may help facilitate.
well, I mean, if it works out, there's no place around here that works on them either. You may draw some of that business
Oh,
back.
Yeah, you definitely get some spin-offs if
I
it.
mean, I look
yeah.
at all the people taking the snowmobiles up north. I
Yeah.
mean, you just see Route 23 and 75 in the wintertime, they're just all headed north. Well,
That's the
with
way it
that,
is
they
with
got a pocket
ATVs,
full of money too
south.
that they're spending.
So if you're gonna direct Mother Nature to dump more snow, don't let anybody, all those calls to Fred too.
Yeah, I understand snowmobiles isn't the right thing here, but I mean, I understand what we're saying. But it's gotta
Order up the
come
snow.
from a committee, and there's gotta be,
I would like to
Let me
see a
ask this.
private agency or park district or something. I don't think it's really something the commissioners would want to.
Well, you guys are head of the
Lead
county,
on.
that's why I come to you.
yeah.
Well,
No.
we provide county services.
Because a lot of
Sheriff
that
and
place, when they spend them off, it goes state. And then you guys lose out on a lot of that money.
What I suggested is to come and get this so it's in the paper. That's where
start.
the interest will start.
Yep.
Did you have a comment on this, Mr. Goode?
Yeah, out by southwest of town, they cleared up a bunch of the railroad track there, and I don't know if they converted it back to farm ground or what.
Okay.
Pretty good stuff, right, there's kind of a little bit southwest of the airport, on the western side of the airport out there. Was a railroad track through there, and they went in there and they bulldozed stuff out and everything like that. I almost think they converted it back to farm ground.
Okay.
But somewhere along the line, somebody had to go through all the gyrations to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe if somebody can find out where how that evolved, maybe it would help somebody if they wanted to go to a recreational thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to say, I don't know if those things reverted back to the original landowner or if the railroad still owns them. I understand it was kind of a hodgepodge.
Well, they totally took it out. They didn't want to put a railroad back in there again, there's nothing there anymore.
Yeah, right.
They just took it
You
right
get
down to
an
level.
attorney that wants to be on a committee, now we got a gold mine, because he could do a lot of that free investigation there. But Brianna, certainly put my name, Brittany, I'm sorry, Brittany. Yeah,
Who's Brianna?
Yeah. Put my name on there as a contact. Again, I agree with Commissioner Wagner. I don't think this is something the county really wants to take on, but we may be able to help facilitate something.
Yeah.
And we got enough stuff on our plate.
But I was just looking at it as, tax dollars and recreation. I mean, you're gonna be surprised how much interest you get.
Anytime you
It's
draw
around.
people to the community, They are spending money in the restaurants, they're staying at the hotels, they're buying parts out to the Tiffin Hardware and stuff, which is win, win, win. And it's a feel-good thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we got old railroad track beds all around the county that nothing's being done with it. You know, if the landowners would say, sure, go ahead, I don't care, you know, which some of them do, some of them don't.
Just gotta connect those.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta
if
connect.
somebody higher up than just the ordinary Joe would walk up to them and explain it, you know, what's going on, they might say, well, yeah, I don't care. But like down in Nelsonsville and up in Oak Opens, they don't have somebody there that regulates you. You read the rules and regulations. When you cross that line, when you go through them poles, you're saying you understand it. That if I wreck, I tear my machine up, that's my
Yeah,
problem.
there's gotta be some kind of insurance, some liability issues, or somehow or other.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, well, and that would be part of this committee to find that out and to investigate that. I know committees are, that's almost like a bad word, but almost as bad as a study.
When is the next park board meeting? Because I'm thinking the park board people have gone through some of these kinds
bet
of
they have.
acquisition things, and they would maybe be able to point places to ask and look,
Yeah.
and grants and all these sorts of things too. Just-
I
You're
know.
you're
Do
absolutely
they
correct.
meet
That's
once
why I
a month?
envision, if there's enough interest,
Yeah. they-
then we would then have a meeting and invite somebody from the park board in, they could help us. I mean, I'm just trying to fast forward this, and then it would be, take a group up to one of these, Nelsonville or wherever, find out how they do it, and then from there, you would learn how to move forward, or, but it all comes down, there's gotta be enough interest.
Yeah.
Does anybody know when the park board meets?
I don't know if they meet monthly or not, but
I'd have to call and see if I can get a schedule.
Well, we can give you that contact information when you leave.
All right.
Just talk to Tanya out there, she has the park board's contact information when you.
Okay.
In
whenever
the
you-
meantime, what's your number? Because
It's,
after Brittany puts this, and if I'm just buried with calls, then certainly I'll get back with you, and we could then start to,
All right, it's 419
Mhm.
618 4418.
The first name again?
Charles.
Charles, okay.
All right.
I
Thank you,
applaud-
Mr. Lawrence.
I
Thank
applaud
you
you.
for your time.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Loretta, did you have something?
Back when Mr. Roberts was talking about it being in the county seat, is there any legal requirement that the Board of Elections, does it have to be in the county seat or not? I don't know.
No,
Is that?
they asked that early on when when they
Okay.
invited us to that first meeting, and we asked that of them, I think, in that process. And like Sandusky counties, it's out where their health department's at and that kind of stuff, and that's outside of the city limits and so forth. And they said, no, that's not a requirement, because I thought easily it could be, but it's not.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
curious about that, and the voter act thing about, so nobody is disenfranchised.
Yeah.
In terms of voting, would that be a barrier in terms of it being outside the city limits?
No, because obviously the early voting is what has people voting there. The rest is in their precincts where the machines are taken to there, and that doesn't change, so.
Initially, the board seemed very excited, their board seemed very excited about that possibility of being out there.
Yeah.
It's kind of back in their court now.
Yeah.
Commissioner Stacy has presented the layout to them and took them a little tour, and now it's kind of back in their court whether they're interested or not. They may come back and say, not what we want,
Yeah.
or, yeah, we really like it, and then we'll have to go from there. It seems-
I think ideally, they were looking at the Fifth Third building.
And that's major renovation.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
And speaking of which, is that still potential, or is that off the hook?
It's still a potential. We have been in contact with the group that has looking at coming in, and they've got a board meeting. They said the end of October here, and that was to make a decision if they wanted to grow into the Tiffin community. So that is still an open option there.
Yes, Tom?
I just got a couple comments to make. On Mrs. Wilson, I think that she had something to do with getting rid of that burn pile out there, back of the, before the party on, or dedication on Sunday. I just wanted to make a comment on it, 'cause I'm sure she had something to do with that.
Did you have a weenie roast and didn't invite us?
You know, it's amazing, because I was out there a week earlier, and I said, oh my God, we gotta get that thing done, but the last I heard is they didn't wanna burn it down until after the snow flies, you know, because of whatever and so forth, and I was pleased to see that it was down.
Yeah, me too, me too. The other comment is for you, Fred. Thank you for the dedication, what you've done for that cemetery out there. It's tremendous. I know you all had a hand in it, but Fred really put a lot into it.
It's Travis
Thank you.
Case and that group. We're just sitting behind the desk here, it's easy for us. They were out there and did the work.
Oh, I know, they done a lot of work, I agree. So I just wanted to thank you publicly.
Turned out really nice.
Yeah,
It did, very nice.
very large number of people.
Yeah, I was
Amazed
very
at that.
pleased with the turnout, and,
Yes.
and Brittany did an extremely nice article in the paper,
Yeah.
except you took a picture of my wrong side. Because I don't know what a good side is, so.
Yes,
I'm not gonna,
Mr. Goshi, do you have-
well, I gotta pick a little bit of thing. You ever hear of Amsden, Eiler,
Yeah.
Cromer, Fort Seneca, Berwick? Those are all in Seneca County. And why should Seneca County do things out of their way to help the city of Tiffin? The job that you guys got is to do the best you can for Seneca County. If Tiffin loses a little bit because of it, so what? Somebody else is gonna gain something on it. If you wanna move that out there and it's the best option for you, don't let the city of Tiffin bully you into not doing it. Plain and simple as that. I mean, there's frustrating and everything like that, but I see it just bugs me that people think it's because we're in Tiffin, we're in Seneca County, and nobody else is in Seneca County. I lived in other parts of Seneca County, and even when I was younger, I could see that. The city of Tiffin ruled Seneca County, and they are not Seneca County. They are part of Seneca County. And that's all I gotta say, because it's just a bunch of baloney, okay? I put it.
Bottom line is, the decision's got to be, if they're interested in what provides the best county services.
That's right. What's
And
best?
what's the
for
best way to
county?
get that
Best
done.
way- Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
Best
And if it
use
goes
of
out there
county
and Tiffin don't like it because they
taxes.
lose $40 of income tax, tough, but, tough, plain and simple as that. Okay, time to start the meeting.
Yeah, yeah, I think,
I have a
like
couple
we
of-
say, the next step is to see if the Board of Elections,
They want to continue to
if
pursue it,
if they
yeah.
like that spot or not, and then we'll have to
Yeah.
go from there. If they like it, we'll decide one thing, if they don't, we'll.
Whatever you think is best. You guys gotta make the decision what's best. You don't need to have the city of Tiffin telling you what the heck to do.
Right.
The county tells you what to do. Eiler and all those places are in the county, even though there's just stop signs there, or road signs there anymore. They're in Seneca County, and those people are to be represented too, not just the city of Tiffin.
Won't take it, won't take it.
All right, 9:57, yeah. go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to advise commissioners, we got the Wolf Creek hearing coming up, and I've talked with Jim Moyer, the engineer of Sandusky County, and I don't know if we want to have this as an open meeting, have the other commissioners involved. I'll let that up to you, but on the 18th at 2 o'clock, we're gonna meet the engineer of Sandusky and Seneca County, and I've asked one of the commissioners in Sandusky County to be there, and I would suggest that just one of the commissioners from Seneca County be there. I don't, because if we all there, and then we gotta have an open meeting, blah, 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 blah. And the purpose of this meeting is to assess and get an understanding from Sandusky County commissioners that if in fact we would grant the petition for Wolf Creek, and if in fact there continues to be a flooding problem in Bettsville, that Sandusky County would, well, given all hypothetical things, that Sandusky County would be willing to rectify the problem in Sandusky County. So I just would like, before I can make an opinion towards this petition, I'd like to have that understanding from Sandusky County. And so that's why I'm bringing the engineers from the two and a commissioner from, and I know it's gonna be more of a verbal gentleman's agreement, but, and maybe it won't happen. Maybe by alleviating a problem in Seneca County, that the flow is proper in Sandusky County, maybe nothing has to be done. But if it does, I would be more willing to grant the petition for my 1/3 if I have an understanding of Sandusky County. And I understand in the past, it has not been received well by the Sandusky County Commissioners. There's a new pulse now, a new group over there, and so if one of you commissioners would like to attend that meeting, that's fine. But I would suggest one of us, not all, not
It'd be
two
hard
of
to
us.
get a gentleman's agreement if I go, but I'd be, sorry, just said.
Sometimes it's better to get the lady in charge to get the real opinion. But that's gonna be on the 18th at Township Road 7 at the bridge.
Ooh, burr.
But we need to find out, and how, or Stacy, perhaps you can find out, there is a gentleman that, he lives in Seneca County, his property's in Sandusky County, Mr. Pope.
That'd be Dalton Pope.
Dalton Pope.
Can we get permission from him that we can drive down his lane to assess that part of it? All I'm trying to do is, I think I've explained this out there. This is something that's went on for years and years and years, and I know that, talking with our engineer, Mark Zimmerman, this morning, he said the last 2 weeks has just absolutely consumed him. And there's a tremendous amount of work that he's put in it, and so many have put in it. It's time we stop kicking the can and make a decision one way or other.
Yeah, well, just to review, the past board granted the petition. So at the final hearing, we either, what's the right words? We either, I don't want to say,
Make a permanent full.
ungranted, or ungranted isn't the right word. We either do away with that decision or we affirm that decision. We affirm the decision or we
Deny it.
deny the decision. It's still not the right word, but we
Rescind.
rescind it. I think that might be the
Rescind
right
it.
word. Thank you.
Thank you, you must have been an English major.
No, man. So the petition has been granted. It's, and then there's a list of things in the revised code that have to happen in order, the engineer has to determine fit. And if these things fit by revised code, we grant that, we affirm it. If they don't fit, then by revised code, we
Yeah,
We
but is it
deny.
our is it the commissioner's determination if it fits or not? Is
Based-
it in our interpretation?
based on the engineer's recommendation. So it's all good. This will help maybe remove an obstacle for your mind to grant it, but our decision can't be based on what Sandusky County Commissioners might or might not do legally. I think it certainly doesn't hurt anything to do this, and I would suggest that you be the one, because you're the one that's gonna determine your decision. My decision would be based on what the engineer's report says. Unless you want to go.
No, I have no problem with it, but I agree, I'm gonna follow I think we're in the position to follow what the engineer says, and I do think it's a good idea, though, to have that with them. Because, I mean, like I said, it
helps me in my
It's
decision.
an agreement, a verbal agreement, and, yeah, and it helps you with your decision, I think there's nothing wrong with
May
it
or may
at
not
all.
have any bearing on what you guys
Yeah.
do, and we all,
Yeah.
And-
each are individuals on this.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have a hard time saying, yes, we will clean the ditch, because somebody's gonna have to file a petition, or they're gonna have to have a co-op project initiated. It's gonna have to go through the whole process. And for them to say, yes, we'll do it, or no, we won't, before the process even happens, it's pretty hard to do.
I
But,
understand, it's a big project with a lot of unanswered questions.
Sure,
and No doubt about it, and this will just help me in the process. and
that's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I would suggest you go on the
Yeah.
18th, represent us, and just report back what you
Yeah,
hear.
that's,
Yeah.
Along that note, can we set up a time with Mark, maybe a week before,
a good point.
just to get not to discuss yes or no, but to discuss what actually should happen that day?
Before the hearing date, not the 18th, right?
Yeah, before,
The
whatever the hearing date's,
26th, so like
Is it the 26th? That's what I was wondering.
I think so. And
So sometime the week of the 18th,
yeah, and we want a copy of the report as soon as
or
possible.
the end of the week, the previous week maybe.
Yeah, I got it,
Might
it's
be
10,
better.
ooh, that's the commissioners meeting, so 10 o'clock on Tuesday, the 26th is what I put down here.
Yeah, it is. What we have done in the past is we'll either go out there, we'll just move our board somehow around
Okay,
it. Either
okay.
later in the day or earlier, depending on what we have.
Okay.
Okay, anything else for work session?
Yeah, we're gonna be before the 19th, not after.
All right, let's go into our regular board meeting. It's 10:04 and start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Usually I go get my water first. if I
Sure.
don't.
Wait just a minute. Should we just adjourn while he's gone?
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Wagner,
I'm here.
Commissioner Stacy,
Here,
Commissioner Story.
Here.
Okay, let's sign the journal. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
so moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Old business. Mrs. Full.
Old business, do you want to start with the auditor's software?
Sure.
I spoke with the auditor a couple times this week so far. The software is an eligible expense out of 215.
Good, good.
And so she verified that with Maximus, they do, she was concerned that maybe Maximus didn't include 215 in their calculations, but they do. And we know that because they've done that to our EMS when we put in that little extra storage unit.
Okay.
It got cost allocated back to that department when they put that in, so,
Okay.
215 is a go. We did not prepare any paperwork, but we can move forward with that anytime. Since the money's in 215, and, you know, I know you guys had talked about splitting it out for 3 years, the money in 215, since it isn't gonna affect our cert. I mean, I talked to Julie, and, you know, her thought was to, let's just pay for it out of 215 and let the cost allocation bring back the money is what,
Rather than upfronting
yeah,
cost.
yeah.
And, see, I had 3 questions I thought Julie was gonna answer. One was 215, can we use it? Second was the 5-year support. She was gonna check and see if that, she could get them to hold that cost at the same.
What she said over at Budget Commission, she said she hasn't gotten his reply from him yet.
Okay.
And I said, I don't know if that breaks the deal because you're gonna have support costs no matter what. But I certainly would like to get that locked in with him if you can.
Before we make an order.
Yeah, I said, so if you can convince him to do that,
Okay.
you know, that's, and so she'll certainly
Okay.
work on that, so.
And the third thing was the non-general funds paying, but if we're going through 215, I guess I could see using Maximus and collecting it in the rears.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I thought about this too, since then, and I wrote a few notes down that don't make much sense to anybody else. If we can pay it out of that and we do have the cash in there, I know it pulls us down in that account. And we can still have enough for the phones if we do that. I would certainly be in favor of paying it now, saving the $2,500. $2,500 is not a lot, but
Something.
that goes a long way toward a parking lot or a vehicle or something,
Some phones.
some phones, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go, not, the general ledger accounts, I'm not familiar with, but it does, so it doesn't go against our carryover?
Correct.
Does not?
Does not.
Does not.
Then I'm in favor of,
Yeah.
no,
What-
I'm
That'll leave us with a
supporting
little
that.
more carryover.
It's
which would be
money
nice.
that, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
No, I was just saying that it'll leave us with more carryover, which would be nice.
Yeah, it does pull down our 250. Each year we take the rent money, which normally, used to go into the general fund. For years and years, it just rolled into the general fund. A few years ago, we decided we could take all the rent money, put it into 215 capital projects, and then we'd use it for fixing a building, painting, whatever. So that's where that money is. It's money that could have went into the general fund, but for the last 4 or 5 years, we've diverted it into 215 for maintenance. So once it's gone too.
Yeah, but it keeps, every year, you keep replenishing it through the Maximus funds, so.
Through
what you-
rent.
What you wanna do
Maximus
is,
comes back to general.
hopefully, pardon?
Maximus comes back to the general.
This is rent, like Hope Roy's shop pays rent.
Farm rent.
Farm, yeah, FSA
How much is in
pays
that
rent.
fund?
215 is our capital improvement fund. We do it's about $100,000 in rent a year that we put into there.
That we're generating from outside sources,
From, like, the
other
rentals
than
and-
county sources.
Correct.
And we used to throw that in
Used to be in the general.
the general fund, now we keep it separately so we can do some capital
Yes, because
improvement.
there was never any revenue set aside for any building maintenance or, repairs. And the rentals and leases, not that they're minimal, but it was a small way to make that goal happen.
Yeah.
Where the county could dedicate
Makes sense.
a certain amount, even though fairly minimal amount, but that will get these jobs done when the general fund may not be, as healthy as we want it to be, but at least they had a dedicated fund to help with the
And
improvements
this
in
is
the
paid for the
building.
computers, the software?
Yes.
How's that part of building maintenance?
It-
I guess
It's a capital improvement.
Capital improvement.
It's a capital improvement, that's what the fund is called, our capital improvement fund, because it can be, I'm trying to figure out how Julie
She
said.
said as long as it had a 5-year life.
Yes,
A capital improvement has to at least have a 5-year life, which would have a minimum of 5-year life, so.
yeah,
so it's not bricks and mortar and building maintenance, it is for any capital
capital improvement
project that's
project,
got.
yeah.
an
Normally, it's
excess
a maintenance issue, but, phones, that's a maintenance issue. Computers nowadays, it's a standard, so we're maintaining the system, so.
We could take it out of the general fund, we don't have to take it out of 215, but then you're gonna lower your certificate and you don't have the cash to do the whole 3-year deal, save $2,500.
If we take it out of the general funds, I would suggest to spread it out. If we don't take it out of the general funds and it comes out of this 215, then I'm in favor of paying it all at once. The $2,500 over 3 years is not a major shakes, but again, general funds, absolutely not.
So it's okay with the board to take it out of 215 and do it all at once? Is that?
I think that's the best way to do it.
And would we like to wait until Julie gets it nailed down on the support? If they know we're gonna buy it, they aren't gonna come anywhere on the support.
Hopefully she'll get the answer this week and
Yeah.
we can bring it up again.
I think, why don't you just prepare the resolution and hold it until she gets that
Okay.
nailed down with them?
Then we'll act on it.
Yeah, we've kinda gotta do it, like you say, either way. but
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we had a little
I give her a little leverage. Yeah.
leverage, yeah.
The only thing I gotta keep an eye on is, we don't have the advance paid back for the 215 for the youth center yet. I think
Okay.
there's 250 cash that needs to come back in there. We're okay in cash,
Mhm.
but just so, if that gets low,
Okay.
we understand that's an advance we did right at the end of the year last year.
Uh-huh. We
To,
haven't got that back yet?
no,
Holy cow.
no, and we were expecting that fairly early in the year.
Mhm.
And,
Is it grant money that's coming back?
from the state. Apparently, there was it was the extra money that you had secured for us.
Mhm.
There's some extra paperwork they're requiring from us,
Okay.
and we
Okay.
actually haven't billed it all back to the
Okay.
state.
Okay.
215,000?
250,000, yes.
250,000.
That
Yep.
was for the building of the youth center. The state paid 2/3, we paid 1/3, but we had to upfront the money. So I didn't realize there was that much hanging out.
Yep.
So this goes into that 215
Yeah.
fund?
Yes.
We advanced it out of there, now it'll come back to it, so it's just
So
getting our
the
money back.
215 fund is getting some sizable reserves in there for capital projects.
Yes and no.
Because
The
you
advance
said you had
only,
100, now it's
Yeah.
215.
Well-
That's 315.
the cash, when we advance, it only affects the cash. It doesn't affect the revenue, and that's government accounting again. They separate the cash versus the revenue. So it won't increase the value of, it won't increase appropriation ability in 215. It just gives us our cash back. So,
And 215 has several lines in it. One is the courthouse line that's, just for that fund, and
right.
this with the youth center had its own line, didn't it?
Yes, and they were, it just cleaned it up at the end of the year to make sure they had enough to pay the bills for that project, and
Okay,
instead of the general fund advancing it all,
okay.
215, we were allowed to advance it from 215. It was initially 500,000, and they've got half of it.
Okay.
So, just a note in case
Yep,
that
yep,
it
yep.
gets brought up or anything.
Okay, so I think we all in
Yeah,
agreement
for
on
the
that.
computer system, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other old business?
I got an email from Julie this morning, and I sent it to you guys for review. She had mentioned the weights and measures van one other time. It's just doing the nickel and diamond things that's wrong with it. I don't think any major repairs have needed to be done. It's just needed a new battery, and the ones he sent her in that email were, I think the muffler and the brakes were squeaking.
Yeah.
I know
And
maintenance
possibly tires.
has another pickup that they don't use, and it has a cap on it. Problem is a stick shift. That's why nobody in the county seems to want to drive it. I could offer that. It's nicer, and Jim always drove it because he liked the stick
Ron
shift.
wouldn't mind driving. Ron Lutz is our weights and measures guy, right?
Yeah.
He can drive that,
Okay.
I'm sure.
And we are getting one of the vans from the sheriff back. Maintenance is going to go through it, see which ones we need and we want to keep. Otherwise, we're going to get rid of the ones we're not using onto gov deals, maybe to help offset. And I have talked to the dog warden about, I know you guys had mentioned to her about trucks and not replacing them, potentially if general fund needed one of the trucks, if we could, make an offer, not, just take it from her, but make an offer on the vehicle. And so she was, she was okay with looking into that. So there are some options instead of buying a new vehicle.
Do we know what the weights and measures van, what kind of mileage that has on it?
I think it's over 200,000. It's
Oh,
like a
okay.
96 or a 97.
Okay, okay,
So quite a few miles on it.
okay. Yeah, I'd pursue that, especially that truck. I'm sure Ron wouldn't mind a stick shift.
Okay. I'll see if I can get a hold of him
See
and
see
ask.
see what you can work out with him.
So otherwise, that's one we'll probably just try to sell on
Yeah.
good deals and see what we can get out of it. But,
Okay, thank you.
so just wanted to update you, let you know we're working on that. The other was new business, so it's all.
Okay, any other old business, Nicole? Either of the commissioners?
Where do we stand at with the phone?
I have
That's
the-
old business, isn't it?
Yes, that's old business. I have, because of the articles in the newspaper, the first time we put these quotes out, I got quotes from 3 companies, and it was kind of put on hold. Well, the company that came in with the best cost was the one that I contacted for an updated quote. And I explained to the other firms that, they were, now he wants to one of the other firms wants to resubmit a quote now that the price is out.
Out in the public.
So I'm gonna let him submit it and see what it looks like, but
Okay.
otherwise, the numbers came in at exactly the same, so we're ready to go. I'm gonna see what the quote comes in.
Sure,
He's
sure.
local,
Mhm,
so
sure.
we'll see what the quote comes in, and
Okay.
but I don't
When-
want to stall the project anymore. I want to getting
Yeah.
moving as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
When we talk about things, do we have to put the price in the paper? Because that really does put an unfair advantage with one vendor over another one when they know,
Yeah.
I mean, now,
mean,
it's
it's
really
public-
not fair to the first guy, who had the lowest price.
Yeah,
I mean, is that by law? Do we have to list a dollar?
it's a public record, and
So you have to list a dollar figure.
Well,
When I ask
once
for
they
quote-
submit those quotes here, they'd be public record if they
Yeah.
wanted to ask for them, so.
usually if I get quotes, I cover up the amounts. Now, if they ask, I have to provide it, but I want them to quote it exactly the way it is without
Right.
those numbers. If they ask, I give it to them. If they don't ask, they usually send me their bottom dollar, but
If it's over a certain amount, you do the bids,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
which is sealed bid, that works fine, but quotes do give you a little more flexibility to negotiate with people.
Yep.
Say, well, can you do this with that?
It's like playing poker and let the other guy see your hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is, it really is.
unfortunately. So, So I don't wanna hold up the project anymore, hopefully I'll be
Okay.
able to at
And
least
if it's
get-
only $10 difference or something, would go with the guy that provides the best bid first.
Right.
And that will come out of 215 too then, which
Correct.
is not general funds accounts.
Right.
Correct, yep. So hopefully I'll get that quote and I'll compare and then
Okay.
hopefully by next week have the resolutions ready if you wanna proceed.
Okay.
Get her done.
All right, let's move into the items on the agenda. You in a hurry, Kathy?
No,
Okay, all right. This should just take a few minutes, we don't have much on the.
Okay, unpaid business. I have bill vouchers 127 through 133. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the concealed handgun license fund 047, putting $6,130 into their equipment line.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Sure.
The Supplemental appropriations, that means that this was not part of the budget. This is where, when you gave me the figure where we spent X amount more than what we had appropriated, it's because this, whenever you hear the
Supplement.
supplemental, that means that wasn't
That's
part of
actually-
it.
actually-
Yep.
This is Fund 047, so it's not general fund,
But it's the same concept.
same concept. just a
Okay, but
different-
now, what's general funds? What?
Some of the sheriff.
010.
Oh,
Oh,
no, it's
oh,
general.
no, okay.
Yeah.
I'll learn in
Yeah,
the next
that's all
3
right.
years.
Right.
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the County Road 39-9.32 Bridge Project Fund 183, moving 12,000 from contract services, transfers out to transfers in for the 183, again for 12,000. A resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Bridge Rehab 12/38/592 Project Fund 091, moving 10,000 from transfers out of his 020 account to the transfers in for the Truss Bridge Project, again for 10,000. I have resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the general fund requested from the Board of Election, moving $500 from precinct employee salary line to the travel line.
You know where they're traveling, or is that?
I don't have a request with this. I can ask Tanya if they submitted a,
Are they possibly doing training for the new person?
Probably.
I'm assuming that's what it was, but I don't have it. There's nothing attached, but I can ask.
That's okay, for me. You want?
I'd be curious to know.
Okay.
Just let me.
I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Sheriff Highway Safety Grant Fund 095, putting $6,929 into salaries, $100.47 into Medicare, $970.06 into PRS, for a total of $7,999.53. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Capital Facilities Note Retirement Fund 312. This is putting we have to do the vouchers for the notes. So in the note principal, $910,000, note interest, $1,656.62, for a total of $911,656.62. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Seneca County Ditch Maintenance Fund 017, putting $1,750, into the PRS line. And I have a resolution appointing members to the Community Correction Board. We have, see if there's anyone that's changed.
I think it was just the terms.
Okay, so they're all up to 2015
Yeah,
now.
all the terms expired March of 13, I believe, so
You'll-
she just caught it and needed to fix it.
Okay, so the only one new would have been Fred, but we added that a month ago, putting him on the
Who all
list.
do we appoint to the, is there a bunch?
There's a bunch of them.
Okay.
We've got the commissioner appointment, common police judge, municipal court judge, criminal defense attorney, a Tiffin Muni police chief, sheriff, prosecutor's office, mental health and recovery, executive director for developmental disabilities, halfway house administrator, CBCF administrator, community corrections, ACT fund program or designee, public representative, victim of crime, law enforcement representative, judiciary, and corrections.
Okay,
That was a meeting
There's
that
a
I
bunch of
attended
people.
Yes.
last week or
Yes.
week before.
Yep.
Very enlightening.
I did ask Tanya if she knew what it was for, and it just came in as travel. It didn't say what or where and for who.
We can call over there and ask.
Yeah.
That's all the resolutions I have.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve them as outlined.
Second.
Okay, discussion on any of them? Do you want to wait to hear before you vote on that, or do you want to go ahead and vote on it and find your answer
Oh,
later?
I'm fine, I'm just curious, yeah, I'm fine with voting on it, yeah.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Zoller,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner.
Yes. Okay, other new business.
The only thing I had, Tanya got a call from Brad Newman about potentially looking into another house that may need moved. The only thing he's asking for us right now is to see if he can have it appraised.
I thought we were done moving houses. Like, that's,
No,
did
there's-
they
there's-
change the clear-free zone somehow?
There was one that was on the fringe of it, and now with some additional property that he bought to help the free clear zone, it leaves one kind of out on the point there. I forget whose it is.
I think I have the name
That's-
wrote down.
That's in a very, very gray area there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we're getting the requirement from the state on that yet. Tanya took a call. I didn't talk to Brad yet about it, but I wanted to at least bring it up.
Be interesting to know if the person is friendly or hostile toward this idea.
I think she's in favor of it.
I think she's friendly if it's.
Okay.
It was one of those, you know, you bought everybody else's house around me, what about my house?
And really, the issue is, as I understand it, is we look at grants for the airport, the state or feds or whoever it is, they turn around and say, well, you haven't done this, so why should we give you more money for that? So that's kind of, you gotta kind of play their game before they'll throw more money in our till. That's the ironic part of the whole thing.
And he's asking for permission to appraise it.
To have it appraised. And it's
Who pays that
usually,
cost?
we do. We would have to put money in place for that, and I think I'm thinking appraisals usually don't go over $1,000 for us.
500 something for a
Okay,
house.
yeah.
Should we have Brad come talk to us before we?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We can do that.
That way we can understand the big picture.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can do
I
that.
would suggest, that's a great idea.
And just on a side note there, thank you for the updated numbers on that airport. The impression was given some time ago that we spend $50,000 a year out there, and it's not exactly the case. Spent $85,000 over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So whatever that calculates up to is the regular maintenance. And some of that was reimbursed because of a insurance claim.
Yes, yep.
So it was less than what was sort of.
Absolutely, and another fact that I discovered that I didn't know, so we have to remember at the very initiation of the airport, Brad's father-in-law purchased the land and gave it to the county. So there was a substantial investment, private investment that was turned over to the county for this whole project that certainly needs to be noteworthy, that I was totally unaware of.
Mr. Nepper.
Yep, yep.
Okay, I will schedule one to come in.
Thank you. Thank you. Kathy, sorry to keep you waiting.
That's okay.
Appreciate you coming in. Some of us who've been around a while know how all this foster care and the money appropriated works, and just some new.
Some of us are
don't-
in the dark.
Okay, I'll give you a little refresher and then I'll tell you what I need to know. We do child welfare, so that means kids come to our care where if it's from their neglected, dependent, or abused. Currently, we have 17 kids in care. For those of you who have been around, Mr. Wagner here, our high level as director was close to 90 kids in care. So that's a substantially different picture, and we're continuing to keep kids safe. Actually, Mr. Zoller was at our meeting where PCSAO came to talk to our staff, and we were the highest reduction in Ohio safely for kids in care. So I want to give a shout out to the staff are doing such a great job, the courts, law enforcement, everybody we work with, the schools, firelands, to keep those kids safe.
So that's what you attribute that to, Kathy, is the effort of the staff and trying to be proactive and so forth that has made that dramatic reduction?
The collaboration, yes, and also we're able to do things differently than we did 10 years ago. We implemented alternative response a couple of years ago.
Explain that.
That allows us to work more family-friendly with the family and not get the courts involved right away and see if we can correct whatever issues are there and the child can stay in the home. We don't have to remove the child for, safety purposes. So that's been a big help. The staff, I give a lot of credit to our staff who have been there. I think our least senior person is maybe 5-7 years. And I know when Commissioner Wagner might remember back to a day where we had people just kind of rotating through. So that experience and skill they have really helps in working with the families and the kids too. And we have great attorneys that help us in the courtroom, and it's just been working well. So right now with those, as I know it today, I'm gonna knock on wood like 10 times here. We have 17 kids in care, and we estimate that our care cost for this year is gonna cost us about $600,000. I'm gonna give you a comparison point. Our highest year, as when I have been director, is 1.7 million. We used to ask you guys for $650,000. Last year, this current year, we requested $300,000. So, the reason why I'm here, after I said all that, is we have not yet drawn that $300,000. What previous boards allowed us to do is, even if we didn't need that whole money right at the minute, we would kind of front load the system, so then the next year we didn't have to request so much money. And that's how we kind of decreased that $650,000 request. So I want to know, do you want to do that again? Couple little things to think about. We do have a child who has really high needs. He will cost us, for his care and to meet his needs, $60,000 this year, and for 2 more years, then it will increase to probably $120,000 because of the needs that need to be met, unless some substantial changes occur during that time. So we have that big cost out there that we need to keep in mind. But saying that, we feel like we're in a pretty good position right now. We do also get a little bit of child support money, like if we take a kid into care, the judge sometimes redirects child support and that can go to the cost of care. And we also get some federal reimbursement for some kids who are eligible, that's called 4E. So we feel like we're in a good position. My question to you is, do you want me to draw the whole $300,000 request less for next year? Or I got a deal for you. Do you want me to draw $200,000 and give you $100 back? Or some version of that. We'd like to continue to do maintenance of our building. We've been doing that, and it's your building, and we try to keep that nice. And I'd like to continue to do that. But
So not only has she not used the entire 300 the last couple of years, she's allowed us to divert some of that toward building projects, which is, you can't appreciate how fantastic that is unless you lived through the days when it was $1 million a year and growing.
Right.
It was scary. It was just absolutely scary.
it was.
I think Kathy has mentioned some of these things to me and given kind of a wish list and a projected cost with some of them. I think what you and I spoke about, if I think it was somewhere around 100,000 of that, if you could put 200 of 300,000 as a carryover for next year that we could keep in the system, and 100,000 of that you could go with some of those special projects that needed for building maintenance. I think one was carpet in the, throughout the, your building, and then the other one, I think, was the parking lot maintenance that is gonna help us, because I think you applied for the, we applied for the CDBG for that this year, or shall we say you didn't make the application for
Yes.
CDBG because we decided to use it elsewhere. So because of your due diligence and your reduction of kids you got in this system, you're right, I didn't see those days of $1 million, and I couldn't imagine how you guys, manage that. But I would be receptive if you would carry the 200 over to next year and take that 100,000 for the specific maintenance projects that you've talked about, so that we keep the building in good shape. That would be my recommendation there.
Do you have any thoughts, Sally?
It's a little confusing, but yeah, I can't understand the 8 days of the million plus.
Oh, God.
Yeah, of what you were dealing with, so appreciate what has been done and whatever you,
Does that
Something different.
scenario work for you?
does that work best for you or?
What works best for you?
You know, it's really up to you. If you would like 100 back, so I know you got a lot of programs going on, I am happy to do that. I can still do what we're talking about with maintaining the building and caring for kids as I know it today. Not gonna wood again. You know, where it changes is, and sometimes it happened back on those days, if you get one child coming into care with some needs, it's not as expensive as if you get a sibling group of 4 when you need, So we try to maintain a reasonable level of that, but.
Yeah, but if we would bring that money back into the general funds, all you're gonna do is you would then just request funds next year to get it back
True.
up.
You need it in 14 or
True,
15
I mean,
or
we're gonna
something.
request less as I know it today,
Yeah.
but I mean, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, so, it's there, we haven't spent it, keep it. It just means you're gonna come back to us less in your
Right.
budget for 14.
Right.
And because of your efforts, and we have not distracted with offering any services to our kids and so forth, it's because of the experience and so forth in your department, that if you wanna use part of that money to maintain our building,
Yeah, I'd
it's a
say
no-brainer.
to draw down the amount that's appropriated this
Okay.
year, and then put it into projects as you see, work with Stacy, put it projects as you see fit, and then hopefully that will.
Yeah, but I'd like to see him put a cap on it and not to exceed, I think 100,000 is, what was some of the projects? I got the notes back on my desk.
You're right, it was, we have 3 parking lots out there. We did 1 parking lot, there were 2 others to be done. And Bobby Anderson, the assistant director, has been the one coordinating with Stacy on that stuff. So there's 2 parking lots. The carpet has been there, I believe, the whole time the building has been in existence, and it's starting to get kind of really,
Ready.
So, and then, when you replace carpet, you all, I believe, have been to our agency. We have cubicles, so you have to tear those down and put them up. And we would certainly coordinate to see if the sheriff's crew could help us with some of that, so we don't have to pay for that. And then the other thing was, you allowed us to, we had overgrown stuff in the landscaping, so that was done by Summer Youth this year. If we get Summer Youth again next year, we might freshen up that front part. So all that was the 100. And really, over the past few years, boards have asked me what do I think the building needs? I think then we're down to, should anything happen to the roof? Because really, those were the only projects we really talked about, other than the parking lots and.
So the 100 would handle it.
Yeah, that would take care of everything as a.
And we talked about, part of the parking lot is in the veterans part, and part is in JFS, and I said, if you're gonna do a parking lot, they're kind of somewhat adjoined, you're gonna do it, you might as well do them both. And that was
Figured in.
yeah, part of that thing that
Yes.
would have brought you the minimum. I know you'd like to do more, but bringing the minimum, trying to look at what you can throw back into the so you don't have to hit us up next year, so we keep as much of that in it as possible.
Yeah, keep as much in the kids are first, so keep
Yeah,
as much in there
absolutely.
as possible, and hopefully that'll allow us to appropriate a little less next year, but whatever.
Okay.
Safety of the children. On behalf of the board, I'd say we really appreciate what you and your staff do. If you could convey that to them, we
Okay.
appreciate what you've done.
Thank you.
And the Judge Myers, she said, is a big part of that. He's just been a godsend as far as good decisions and saving us money. I spoke with Morrow County, I think I told you a few months ago, and they had, what, 20-some kids in deep end placement. And that's.
What's that?
Deep end is the institutional care. That's not with foster parent Joe and Joyce. They're in deep end placement, $200-300 a day. They were spending over $1 million a year on foster care. Morrow County's smaller than us, I think.
They are. Actually, I work with that director a lot. You're right, Commissioner, when you get, in the child I referred to that has a lot of needs at this time, he's in that residential care. It's, got more of everything, for lack of a better description. They have counseling, they have group therapy, they have, sometimes it's a locked facility, sometimes, it's more structured, because that's what the children need at that time. But it is challenging for counties too.
So I just say thanks to you. I mean, some of it's a little bit of luck of the draw too, that we aren't getting the kids, but some of it's a lot of hard work by you and the judge. And I'd say to the board, this is one of the triggers. After I'm gone, the next year, you'll have to watch. There's a couple that can really bust your budget. That's this and ICE. That could disappear tomorrow, and this could explode tomorrow. So those two things you're just gonna have to watch continually. How many foster parents do we have right now? Any idea?
Oh, you know what? I forgot to jot that number down. I want to say we have, I can't remember if it's 7 or 9 homes right now. And, they're doing a great job and.
A little bit lower than what we've traditionally done.
Yes, and I think some of that is, we have less kids in here, and usually when somebody becomes a foster parent, they want to take care of kids, and we don't have as many right now, unfortunately, so.
Has Safi been a positive thing in the county or a negative thing?
Oh, I think that's been good. We have had them do some parenting stuff for some of our families, and
They haven't really stolen foster parents from us, I guess.
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No, yeah, that happens sometimes.
Okay, I'm sorry to keep peppering you with questions.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Anything else for
Thanks.
Kathy from the board?
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I was mentioning to Kathy that I run into someone in the grocery store a couple of weeks ago and whatever, and then they realized I was a commissioner, and they were saying, oh boy, the Job and Family Services, they just doing such a great job and so forth, and that Kathy Oliver's great to work for. I called Kathy the next day and I said, how much did you pay them? to tell me?" That was an unsolicited response from a coworker.
Okay, any public comment this day? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got comment and question. When they fixed the roof on the barn, the tin blew off last Friday. The other barn out there has had shingles off for a while.
I think they're supposed to be,
Okay.
they're including that repair while they're out there, is what Dean said. Yep,
Did we turn that in, the insurance? 'Cause I sent you
Yes.
a memo on Sunday.
yep, we gave them notice, and once we get the costs on it, because apparently SCAT even had, some issues, had some.
Every one of the signs,
Yeah.
the parking sign, I thought some kid come in and broke them all over. But they were all pushed the same way. The wind, the signs,
Oh,
every one of them snapped.
I think,
Weird, yeah.
I think Dean went out there first thing like Friday morning and got all the damages from around
So, yeah,
to see what.
they're working on it, and it will be submitted.
We have like a $2,500 deductible, so whether that makes that amount.
Thank
or
you.
not.
Yeah, and remind, I forgot to say something, that when I got the scat van Sunday,
Yes.
I actually corralled the guy as he was getting out of it. I said, can I use this thing? He said, well, make sure you notify SCAT, because we put a couple miles on it driving up and down the lane. So if you would, and I failed to say something to you yesterday. So they know that there's a
Yeah.
discrepancy in the mind.
They hired a new director, by the way.
Not yet.
You weren't finished, Bree.
I'm sorry, Tom.
The other thing, the garage, it looks like a garage, in front of the new Kitty
Yeah,
Youth Center.
Yeah. That's part of the youth center. Judge Meyer got a small grant to put that up, and he'll keep tools and different things in there.
Why did you have them put it on that side? That's a good plot for future building. That building could have been set on the same side as the youth center's on.
That's where he asked to put it.
You know, to me, it's in the wrong place. It's taken up a whole area that could be a future building site.
It looks kind of out of place there, but I have to, I mean, I agreed for it to go there along with, and
We looked at it marked on the ground. I don't remember any
Yeah, he marked-
details at the time. I can't remember now, but
And that's where Judge wanted
Comment
it.
on,
yeah.
comment on one
Sure,
thing.
sure.
Thank you.
Anything else? Tonight, we're going to Bettsville
Yes.
at the fire department to
EMS
congratulate
presentation.
EMS folks, and I suppose Ken's gonna do the presentation, but at some point, we may have to shake everybody's hand, give them an attaboy.
I won't be there.
Okay. And then that'll kind of, once we do it once, we'll know how to do it for the rest of them, because we've got like a dozen of these scheduled in the next few weeks. And then solid waste tomorrow, is that still on, Zipri, the solid waste directors
I
meeting?
believe so.
Okay,
And I will not be there because I'm
Okay.
going to the extension update at Wood County.
okay, I'm figuring on going to
Yeah,
that.
and I won't be.
Okay, I will be there, so if you get me a card for that. Anything else? Oh, yes.
Just a quick update, I'm gonna bring it up as new business with 2 new commissioners. This 2014 will be the time that EMS has saved up to get the new ambulance for Green Springs. And he's received the quotes, and he would like to proceed with getting it ordered. We won't have to do the appropriations till next year when the full amount is there, but he wants the okay to get the paperwork started, get the purchase ready. But he'll have money available. That's what our formula is. It sets aside $65,000 per year, and he did postpone it 1 year to help get the new Echo. So just wanted to let you know he's got some quotes and he's under his amount, so he's looking to move forward with that. He was going to come up today, but he got stuck in a meeting, so I told him that's no problem. I would bring it up.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
We try and get new ambulance every 3 years, then it goes to the squad that has the worst one.
Yeah. And we'll start working on, I'll get the draft ready for that, expenditures for public safety. I'll get you, since we have 2 new ones, this is the year we move forward with the 14, 15, and 16 costs. I'll get the old resolution and draft of the new resolution. I'm assuming no changes are to be made, no increases, no decreases, we're hoping.
I think personally, I'd like to follow Ken's recommendation
Okay.
and let him take the lead on where he wants to see it go. Whether that means a change or not, I'd leave it in his court.
Okay. Yeah, and this is the one that we also do the 10,000 for floodplain management, and we put some money towards the EMA fund. This is our resolution setting those aside, so those will be included in that too. But I'll get you the draft of it, just so know I'm starting to work on it. We usually get it done. It's a 3-year commitment, and we usually do it in November, so
Okay.
just want to let you know I'm gonna start working on it that way. You guys have any questions
Great.
before then, and we'll have some discussions, but
Great.
as long as the initial thought is no increases or no decreases to it, then.
Okay. Anything else for the board today?
I don't have no idea if this is anything that we have any control or anything over, but as I was voting this morning, I got corralled by about 4 precinct workers. And they were very eager to inform me that they make $6.66 an hour. And is there any way that anything could be done there? So I don't know, is that state regulated, is that county regulated, is that?
Comes out of our monies that we give them because we have to provide them, but I don't know if it's state sets the quota or the hourly rate, or I don't know how that
I'm
works.
not sure yet.
60 cents an hour is,
Yeah, for a day a year. or
I
2 days.
understand, but they brought it to my attention and
Yeah.
was there anything that could be done?
Because they do get paid when they do, when they do the training, if they have mandatory training, they are paid for that stuff too.
I would guess the local board of elections sets the amount, but then we have to obviously
Give them their money.
budget that amount.
Well, this will be in the paper, so now that the Board of Elections can act on it.
Well, if they act on it, then we have to change something. You know, it's a 1-2 day year commitment, and I better not say anymore. Brittany's got her pen right there.
It's part civil service.
Yeah, it's
Civil
kinda
service.
like jury duty. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
don't
they
have to
don't-
do it. Nobody's saying you have to do it.
Yeah.
Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned at 10:49.
Just notice on the calendar that